Have you ever thought that you were good at something, but it was simply because you were comparing yourself to people who really just weren't that good? Unfortunately, this is something that I see quite often with women in their 40s and 50s when it comes to health and fitness, where you are comparing yourself to your coworkers and your family members and other women around you who may be struggling with the same thing. Because they have extra belly fat, or because they're also overweight, or they're struggling with sleep and energy, you think that that is just the norm, and you feel like you're not doing that bad because you're not feeling it in the way that they are. When in actuality, you could be doing so much better. But the reason why you can't see that is because you just haven't been put in an environment that's actually going to challenge you, that is going to raise the standard for you. And this is something that I experienced when I was a kid. When I used to play soccer, I thought that I was a way better soccer player than I actually was because I was one of the best players on my club team. And eventually I went from my club team to trying out for the New York State team. And then I made the New York State team without a sweat. So I was thinking, yo, I'm one of the best players in the state. I'm thinking that I'm a baller until I went and tried out for the regional team where I got a reality check because who I thought I was at the state level is not who I ended up being at the regional level. Why? Because now I'm not competing against the best players in New York State. I'm competing against the best players in New York State and New Jersey and Maryland and Virginia and Pennsylvania. And when you bring together all of the best players from all of those states and then you try to form the best team, competition is a lot stiffer. So what happened? I ended up getting cut. I had to go back to the drawing board, identify my weaknesses, see what I had to get better at, work on it. And then the following year, I came back stronger, ended up making the team. I guess what happens when you make the regional team? Now you have to try to make the national team. And when you're competing for the national team, you're no longer competing just with the kids in your region. You're competing with all of the regions, the best players in the entire country. And who I thought I was at the regional level, because I was ecstatic when I made the team, who I thought I was at the regional level is not who I actually was at the national level, because I'm competing with the best players in the whole country. And now you have to include players in Florida and Texas and California where it's warm and they can train year round. So they have an advantage. So you end up getting cut, go back to the drawing board, work a little bit harder, work on your weaknesses, and then eventually you make the national team. Now, when you make the national team, now you are not competing with the best players in the country. You're competing with the best players in the entire world. When you go and play in some of these competitions, whether it's FIFA World Cup qualifiers or whether you actually qualify for the World Cup, now you are competing against the best players in Mexico. You're competing against the best players in Brazil, in Colombia, in Argentina, in Ghana, all these different countries. And who you think you are in your country is not who you end up being on the global stage because the competition gets stiffer, 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 and stiffer. And something that exposed to me is that environment is crucial, and it is important for you to consistently challenge yourself, because every level that I stepped up to, whenever I went back down, it felt a little bit easier. When I made the regional team and I went back to my state team, it was like child's play. When I made the national team and went back to the regional team, it felt like child's play. And this is something that I see happen a lot of times with women when they sign up for our community or they join our one-to-one coaching program and they hop on a coaching call as a mom with two kids and a pretty intense job, and they're hearing from another lady who has three kids or four kids, is working longer hours, is also taking care of their parents, is maintaining a relationship with their spouse, and they're going to school at the same time. What conversation do you think that woman is going to have in her head when she steps into an environment and she's seeing someone in that situation that's still getting in movement every day, still working out 2, 3 times per week, still doing meal prep while feeding her family, still able to get in quality sleep and manage her stress better, and is crushing it with results? Maybe she's 10, 15 pounds down by the time they first meet. What do you think that that person coming into the program is going to think? They're going to think, wow, I thought I had a lot on my plate, but who I thought I was in my environment is not who I am in this environment. There are a lot of other women who are going through the same thing as me, maybe even more, but they're finding ways to get results. It forces that woman to level up because the community and the environment gives her no choice. And that is the reason why our clients get such fantastic results. It's because it's women getting behind each other, holding each other accountable. Hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. If you're struggling with this is what I used to struggle with and how I got over it, how I was able to make progress because of this. Not to mention, if you're working with myself as a coach and my co-coach as well, we have a very high standard when it comes to health and fitness and just overall wellness and how you live life. So all of the excuses and setting the bar too low, it's really not going to fly with us. Of course, we meet our clients where they're at, but we're not going to keep them where they're at. We need to raise the bar a little bit higher and get you to actually maximize your potential. So when you put yourself in that sort of space, the norm is a little bit different. The bar gets raised a little bit higher. And then now being healthy, being fit in your 40s, in your 50s, it starts to feel like child's play when you're around your family, when you're around your coworkers. Now everybody's asking you what you're doing. And now you know so much that you're actually able to teach them and help them as well. Right? So environment is something that is so powerful. It is the secret hand that shapes human behavior. So if you're finding yourself in a spot where you're feeling a sense of mediocrity, and well, maybe you could do better, but the people around you aren't really pushing you, or they're not striving to be better, I would encourage you to get in different rooms, get in different environments. The community that we've built, the one-on-one coaching program that we have as well, is something that brings women over 40 together specifically that demographic, to help them push themselves to get to the next level. If it's something that you're interested in, I'll leave the links down below where you can check out a little bit more. But putting yourself in a different room is going to change your entire outcome. The same thing happened to me with business. What I thought was a lot of money was not actually a lot of money. I was very happy making $5,000 a month with my first job. And then I got around my mentor, the guy who I was actually working for, and he was making $300,000 a month in revenue as a business. Obviously, that's not take home, but his revenue was $300,000 a month. And I was on his team and helped him to scale his business through content to $1.5 million a month. He was the same age as me. So what do you think that did to my brain? It made me think, well, if he can make this amount of money, I don't have the goals to make that amount, but I definitely can if I wanted to, if I follow some of the principles that he's applying. And I won't get into how much money I make, but one of my team members just bought a house 2 days ago. Someone that I pay, and I've been paying for the past 4 years or so. She just bought a house off of the income that she's been earning working with me. That only became possible because of the room that I was put into, because I got around his peers, because I got around other business owners who were making more money and creating things and solving problems and taking it to the market. That is the power of putting yourself around people who force you to level up. Now, there's a caveat with this. It is going to be uncomfortable. Pushing the boundaries is uncomfortable. When I played soccer and I was striving to make the regional team after I got cut, it was hard. I cried. I was sad. I had a partner where we trained the whole summer to just get better. And we pushed each other and pushed each other and pushed each other. Same thing with business. Like, it was hard for me. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of lost money. You have to make big investments, a lot of taking risks, a lot of people telling you no. It's difficult to go through those growing pains. The same thing with some of our clients, having to track food and weigh food and manage their portion sizes and plan ahead of time. These are things that they're not used to doing until they get into the program and it actually challenges them to do so. So you need to be willing to put in the work once you get in these other rooms that show you what's actually possible. Right? So I hope this video was helpful, ladies. You are capable of so much more than you think you are. And unfortunately, society kind of puts women in their 40s, 50s, and above to the side, kind of forget about you when it comes to health and fitness. And a lot of the solutions on the market are really geared towards young people in their 20s and 30s. So you start to have this conversation with yourself that maybe this is just the way that it's going to be for the rest of my life, and this is just what I need to accept. It's just not true. And I just want to be a voice of reason for you and show you some things that are actually possible. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.